Who will we see? Who will we not see? Gareth, do you have some Canadian news?
Yeah, the story is up on onesoccer.ca. Sources have informed me that the entire dream of having Marcelo Flores, the young Arsenal player representing Canada, it has come and gone. Flores has decided he's going to play for Mexico. He's going to represent the El Tri and the Mexican national team. I'm not sure that this is going to be a big surprise to a lot of people, but Canada was hopeful. I know that John Herdman over past years has gone above and beyond in order to try to convince Marcelo that his future, lay with the Canadian men's national team. His father, Ruben, was highly involved in the process. From what I'm told and what I believe to be the case, he was highly involved in this decision. He's a former Mexican soccer player who came to Canada, has played at various levels, was the women's national team head coach with the Cayman Islands as well. And the entire family, he's involved. Marcelo has sisters as well who play at a very high level. He's very involved in all of the kids' careers, like, any parent that cares does. But I'm not sure how much that influenced the decision of Marcelo, but it seems like it may have had some kind of influence. He was raised in Georgetown, Ontario. Like, look, this is a blow to Canada. I know people will spin it like, well, we only want players that want to play for the Canadian men's national team. Flores is on the cusp of working his way into the Arsenal first team right now at 18 years of age. He was on their bench for a Premier League game against Crystal Palace earlier this season. This is a very good player who plays in a position that really Canada doesn't have a like for like. He's like he's an out and out number 10, really. He's a playmaker from an attacking midfield, deep lying attacking position. Like, that's a player and a profile that Canada doesn't have. So this is a blow. I'm also told that it was never dependent on him getting a call up to the Mexican national team for this World Cup. Like, he just wants to play for Mexico. So there it is. It's not the news that anyone wanted to hear. It's not the news that John Herdman wanted to hear, I'm sure, either. But thus is the case. It's got to be frustrated going through the process and hoping and pushing and then coming away empty. But Flores has decided he's going to play for Mexico instead. He was also eligible for England, by the way. I should point that out. And there was some reported interest there as well, but he's chosen Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know it is disappointing, obviously, but I kind of have to say that I am on the side of it of, like, you can't miss what you never had, to be honest with you. And if he doesn't want to play for Canada, then he doesn't want to play for Canada. I understand Wheels is right that, of course he wants to secure a talented young player like this, and particularly the positional profile he is. But at some point he's going to have to make a decision, and he's made it. What I will say is I think we've seen numerous players over the past few years, and Greg Berhalter actually said something about this recently, which I was quite surprised he said out loud. But there's been a lot of Mexican-American players who have gone to the Mexican program over the past few years, and we're not hearing a whole lot about them now. I'm not saying that's going to be the case for Marcelo Flores, because I think he, as Will mentioned, he seems like a top prospect at a very good club in England, and I hope it does work out for him, because Concacaf needs more stars. But the track record there of those players coming in very, very early in their careers at times and then going on to make an impact is not great. And for me personally, from what I've heard about how John Herdman handled this and his approach to these kinds of negotiations, if you want to call them that, I'm absolutely fine with how he approaches it in terms of not forcing the issue, letting the player make their decision, and ultimately they're going to have to live with that. So it's disappointing not to get a player like that, but it's not a surprise at this point, and I'm perfectly okay with the way Canada's been approaching it with multiple players now.
And Canada has done very well. John Herdman's done very well since he took over in 2018. I know we've talked about this on the show. More than a handful of players have chosen to play for Canada when they could have played elsewhere. But, and I know we always love to read into things. I love to read into things too. What this tells me is, Mexico is still a powerhouse organization. It's still a powerhouse team, national team that players want to be a part of. There is history there. There is legacy there. Yeah. As successful as Canada has been, I wonder if people think it's a flash in the pan. That's what I'm just saying. Like, do people think that Canada will be perennial contenders? Is there longevity there? Because the history isn't there on the men's side just yet, right? So I don't want to read too much into that, based on one person's decision. But it just kind of makes you go, okay, as much as we say, have the kings of CONCACAF been slayed? Maybe not. right? Maybe people still put a lot, into Mexico,
Yeah.
and there's still a lot Canada has to prove. I don't know where you're on that, Garrett.
Yeah. Look, this is what the Canadian men's national team, this is what the Canadian Soccer Association needs to go and improve. And we're going to discuss another story in a moment, but like
Mm.
Olympic gold medalists, been on the podium for the last 3 years at the Olympics, the women's team, the men's team, the best team in Concacaf through World Cup qualifying. We need to make sure that that's sustainable in this country. A lot of it is investment and work that goes on behind the scenes, but a lot of it is having players like Marcelo potentially commit to Canada. Like
Mhm.
the chances for success go up when you convince a player to come. And look, it's no slam dunk going into a highly competitive Mexican squad where this player probably would have been part of the Canadian squad heading into Qatar, even though he's never played for them yet. Like that's how highly rated he is. There's no guarantees he's going to be part of the Mexican squad going to Qatar this time around. So look, it's what he wanted. It sounds like this is what his father wanted. He's played with Mexico under 16, under 20 teams in the past. He's played for the senior men's national team twice as well, just not in an official competitive game. So once he gets cap tied, which we expect will come in the not so distant future, then that story will be done and dusted. But like I said, Canada is being told that he's playing for Mexico.
Well, another conversation we've had on this show, and it's been speculation, and now we're seeing articles that are being written. And that, of course, is when it comes to the head coach, John Herdman, who does have a contract through to 2026, right? Canada will be at the next two World Cups. And we're hearing that it's, what is it, Burnley, QPR. I mean, basically, England also loves their English managers, and he's garnering interest now from English clubs and actual pro teams, as opposed to being the coach of a national side. Would you consider this, Ollie, a move to English Championship be a step down for Herdman, or a parallel move, or just the right move?
It's very hard to compare. We talked about Carlo Ancelotti a week or two ago, and kind of whether in the short or medium term the vacancy could be there for Canada, and I kind of alluded to this, that this is what I could see, and to be honest, what I think is probably probable in the next 12 months or so is an English club, probably outside the Premier League, that is a big club with a bit of history that's not done so well over the past 5 or 10 years. Looking at someone like John Herdman, who is a bit of a builder and can outline a vision and that kind of long-term process, and finding something attractive there. So you look at some of the clubs he's been linked to, like Blackburn and QPR, they kind of fit that description. Now, do I think he's going to take that up this summer? I'd be really, really surprised if he passed up a World Cup. You can never say never, obviously, but I just have a hard time seeing any coach with this opportunity to take Canada to a World Cup in front of them saying no to that in order to take a club job. I think he will absolutely want to move into club football at some point, but there's so much work that's gone into it at this point to get here. The World Cup is such a big stage and such a highlight of anyone's career, and you don't know that you're ever going to get another one, whether you're a player or a coach or anyone. I would just be stunned if he made that decision at this point to walk away, despite these rumors. But certainly some point in maybe the not too distant future, this is the kind of job that I could see him being a fit for.
Perhaps I'm kind of a couple minds here. First off, I've when the story came out, when I put it out, when I found that story last week, there's a lot of comments about like, well, why would you want to go manage in the league championship? It's a good level. If you're English, it matters. There's financial incentive there. Ollie said it. John Herdman's a builder. These are clubs with history, with fan bases, with followings. Those are decent projects, and they don't come around every day. And it's been said by a number of different people, well, go to the World Cup and there's going to be plenty of other options coming John Herdman's way. Well, will there be? Like, what if Canada falls flat on their face at the World Cup? Like this entire story, and we've talked about it as well, like what Belgium is, what Croatia is, what Morocco is. We've kind of discussed their strengths and weaknesses, but let's make no mistake, Canada is a significant underdog going into this World Cup. Teams like Canada in their first World Cups generally don't have success their first time around, especially in a loaded group with established footballing nations. What if they fall flat on their face? What happens to John Herdman's stock then?
Do you think it goes down a lot? I don't know if it does.
Do these clubs, the football world is fleeting, things change. That's why if John Herdman's looking behind the scenes right now, and this is part of a bigger conversation I was trying to articulate, but you can't when you're typing out these words. It's just, if the Canadian Soccer Association isn't backing the manager and the team to make them as successful as possible, then where are they? Where's John Herdman left? And I'm not saying that's the case, but we haven't been provided any evidence that that isn't the case. What we do know is John Herdman was knocking on doors, asking people to fund him in the program in order for them to make it into a World Cup. Is that what the manager or a head coach of the Canadian men's national team should be doing at this point? Or should the Canadian Soccer Association be investing what they have into the program, understanding that this massive windfall is coming their way, the fact they've just even qualified to a World Cup? Where are things at right now? Because a general secretary hasn't been named. I'll have some more news on that later this week. We get Iran as the team, with all due respect to Iran, as the friendly. This isn't something that I'm guessing the Canadian Soccer Association has to pay over the odds to get. Like, where's the commitment to the men's national team? Are they going to take care of part-time staff? Are they going to pay overworked, underused staff? Are they going to purchase equipment, develop in infrastructure to help this men's national team do whatever they can to be successful here at this World Cup? 1986 was a missed opportunity. And Herdman, I believe, said this. We were in the tunnel at BMO Field, and it was ahead of, I believe, the Jamaica game at home. Or no, it was the day after the Jamaica game. Sorry, it was before they went on to play the last game. He said, if Canada doesn't get this one right and doesn't use that money the right way, then what can I do? What can I do? What can I say? Like, you can sense the frustration there. Like, they have to get this right. And we need to start seeing evidence from the Canadian Soccer Association that they're willing to match John's ambition. If not, could you blame him if he walked away, if behind the scenes he's fighting battles to get what he needs to make the team successful at this World Cup? I just think there's a lot to kind of navigate here. I'm not sure where things are at. I'm not sure where things end up, but just sensing the frustration at times that you heard from John over the course of qualification. I just don't think that a decision like this would be an easy one for someone like John. And it's time that the CSA steps up and gives him what he needs. They need John Herdman. Like, he established the women's program to the level that they're at right now, and he's doing the exact same thing with the men. Like, this program, this association cannot afford to lose John Herdman.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you on any of that in terms of backing Herdman and giving him what he needs. But is that not more? Are they not more questions for 2026? Like, at that point, I could see him saying, like, am I going to do this for another 4 years if I don't feel like we're capitalizing on 2022 and we're getting the investment that we need and that this team should get at this point? But we're like, what, 6 months, 7 months away from a World Cup. For all the talk of like brotherhood in this group and how close knit they are, the bond that's there, is he going to walk away from taking that team to a World Cup? I really can't see that, no matter what's going on behind the scenes. Longer term, Wheels is right. All of those questions are relevant and fair. I'd just be stunned if it was something that affects him this year.
I agree with you. I honestly, like, my feel and just like being around the team for as long as I have, I don't think John wants to go anywhere. Like, no. I don't. Like, I think he's fully committed to this project through 2026, to be honest with you. But at the same time, just like football and life moves fast, Andy. Like, you know that. Like,
people don't we know it the older we get?
Yeah, I know. Just like people leave gigs for a number of different reasons on a regular basis and walk away from opportunity to put them in a position that's either better for them, their family, or what. Like, look, of course he wants to manage this group of players, this country in a World Cup, but just he needs to. I just, when the story came out, I'm like, well, I can see why these jobs would be attractive to someone like him. I don't know. I just don't think it's straightforward. I don't think it's cut and dry.
Yeah. And then there's a lot to be considered there. I mean, just the dynamics are completely different from a national team versus a pro team, camps versus every day. Whatever my 2 cents is worth, I think he's the coach for 2022, but then he's going to be putting the hammer, I think, after that for sure for 2020.
What if Canada gets smacked in the face at this World Cup? What happens to Herdman's stock? Like, people,
you got to back yourself though.
Ollie, you're from England though. You understand how fickle it is there. Like, these jobs don't come around. If Canada gets smashed by Belgium, Croatia, and Morocco at the World Cup,
but can I say
what's going to be the sentiment by any club? You're going to hire this guy? Like, they don't care about Canada playing Honduras or El Salvador at the World Cup. It provides a real opportunity for them, doesn't it, Ollie? But if he
No,
gets
if
smashed,
you're John,
you're
if,
from
come
there.
on,
You get what it's like.
I know, but if you're John, I think you have to back yourself to not get smashed. Like you might not get through the group, you might not get a win, but no, I
But
think
do
you've
it
got
at
to be
like
confident with
I
this
think he's
group that
going to
you're not going to get
welcome the
kicked off the
opportunity.
park.
Yeah. So we're going to,
Sorry,
I think
Andy,
he's
go.
going to, no, it's okay. He's going to welcome the opportunity, I think. But honestly, I don't think his stock goes down that much because, and I know nobody wants to hear this because you play to win. You play to move on. You play to go as far as you can. I think people will give Canada a pass
Yeah,
because they haven't been to the World Cup
to a
since
large
1986.
extent,
Maybe
yeah.
people in this country, I don't think people outside this country, they don't care. Show me something. That's the
Unless
way
there's a catastrophic collapse, which that can't, I mean, come on. I mean, he's a better coach than that. Unless there's a
What do you
catastrophic
think
collapse.
Blackbird supporters or Burnley supporters or QPR supporters think about Canada and Canada soccer? They don't know.
But
They
is
have
that not
no
already true
clue.
now? Is that not
Yeah,
true now? There's going to be English supporters that say, "Who the hell is this guy?" If he was appointed tomorrow,
Regardless.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
regardless.
right. But at least you see a tracker where he's taken this and turned it into this. Like it's, I don't know. I just don't think it's an easy decision.